What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders and closet swing traders? Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Hope you guys had a good weekend. Hope you guys are feeling like the spy and the Qs this morning. Whew. The rally from Friday continues. Let's go. But the even better news, we got Albert with us. Good morning. We got Alex, Andrew, Babbitt's in the house. Good morning, Bill, Brian Thompson. We got Cedric. Good morning. Chad is with us. David's here. We got Eric. Good morning. Fayaz, Franco, Jenny, Greg K, Gregory Gilbert. Good morning. Jason Oliver. We got Jason P. King in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Jay, Joe, JT, Kevin. We got El Chuck, Sam. We got Tony. Good morning. All my peeps in YouTube land. Richard Jett, Agnes, Ernesto. Whew. All you guys lurking in the background, not commenting on YouTube. Good morning. Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Let's take a look. Let's see what is happening. So Friday, we were expecting non-farm payrolls. We do need unemployment to go down or to actually increase. We came in a little hot on those numbers, to be honest. It was actually a very confusing report, but the market tried to find some positivity. Wages have shown a little sign of decreasing. So the hourly rate of employees have gone down. So still the same amount of hours for the employees, just less pay at the end of the day. That's good for the market. It's always good in a consumer world that we live in to have people with less money to buy things. In a normal world, that would actually be pretty bad for the market. But this market, again, we're looking for any sign to signal to the Fed that maybe the rate hikes are working. Maybe we don't have to go aggressive. Maybe we could just take a foot off the gas pedal just for a little bit. We'll see. Yeah, Greg Gilbert says not bad meaning bad, but bad meaning good. Said best by DMC. Honestly, it was still confusing, realistically, because you do have good and bad in the report. It's not like you can't look at that report and go, okay, this is solely bad for the market or this is solely good for the market. And it just depends on which angle the market wants to take it at. And they wanted to run a little bullish with it. Kind of does it doesn't really make sense, to be honest, but it makes sense in the fact of the move that we had. Because if you're looking at this chart, where's that pen thingy? If you're looking at this chart on the SPY, this is the daily SPY. You got massive sell-off, decent sell-off, massive gap down, good sell-off, 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 and then we did nothing. So we got a little bit of shorts piling up into this market, and you get a little bit of the market wants to take something as good. Just a little bit of something, start squeezing some of those shorts. So this candle, it was also kind of, even when we saw the CPI back in, I don't know when it was, October, November, whatever that CPI was, where we gapped down and then we just ran up. That was high volume. The candles on the way up were bigger. This was more of a slow, steady buying. So I think it did have at some point definitely some elements of squeeze, but we didn't really get squeezy, which is. It was an interesting Friday, to say the least. But we'll see what happens. Again, this morning, a little bit of a gap up. In the chat pane, what kind of gap do we have today? Green candle followed by gap up. Throw the answers in the chat. Retest, yep. So again, could we open? It's a bull retest, yep. So could we open and run up? Yeah, we could. Typically, I'd be looking for some kind of a fade first. I don't really want to be the first one to buy and go long at open. And again, if I'm wrong, maybe, okay, we'll find a different spot to set. I do got a VPOC somewhere in this, probably somewhere around 390.02. We've seen 390 as some kind of support prior, so that should be a little bit of resistance. So we were gapping into a little bit of resistance. Nothing crazy, but maybe enough to hold. Anybody that did buy on Friday got a gift. Taking some profits at open. This thing comes back, retest. And then I'm looking for maybe we could hold somewhere around 388.38. So again, if I do want this market to remain bullish, I really don't want to see some bigger retests, right? That would start to weaken a lot of what we saw on Friday if we start giving back a lot. But if we come down, retest that quick move, again, somewhere in that 388.38 range, and we can get that bounce there. Okay, cool. Now this one has been retested, and the next target on the SPY for me becomes 393.11. Gives us about $5 to work with. Rock is in the house. What's up, Rock? We got Ted on YouTube land. Good morning, Ted. So that's my plan. If we could find something that we could short at open, meaning that the risk to reward makes sense. But again, if I'm expecting this thing to be a bullish continuation, we did have a nice close on Friday, breaking out of kind of this little bit of a channel that we had. I expect more bullish, probably more comfortable finding something bullish, waiting for that retest, and then looking to play bullish. But again, if we go through a couple stocks and we see something that might make sense to the short side, at least at open, I would expect maybe a little bit of a fade. We'll see if that comes in or not. The Qs. We got the Qs. Again, slight little retest gap. If we could get a pullback to... This one's a little bit different. Qs are a little bit different, though. What I mean by that is this is still a retest gap. I would like to see a fade. The fact that we're breaking above these little spots over here, that could be very, very sneaky. I still think we get a little bit of a pullback, retest one candle red, maybe. But the fact that we're opening above those VPOCs, if we do, which is still 23 minutes away, so we'll see. But if we do, and I got to go back to the SPY too for a second. But for one thing that I was looking at pre-market, if we do open above that, I don't know how big this retest is actually going to be. I'd still be expecting something. We had decent volume on Friday. This could be a very, very small pullback. And then targets on the Qs could be 273.39. That's a decent move to the bullish side. On the SPY, what I was looking at pre-market as well is just some of the previous candle volume. And I just failed to cover any of that when we were looking. But we have this little bit of a high wave. Right there. Decent volume there. This one technically was a little bit higher. So the close of all those candles had some decent volume. So lots of bears came here. Still a decent amount of bears came in this one, and then this candle's more, right? A lot more on that candle, a lot more on those two. Decent amount on this little bit of a high wave. So anybody in this zone bearish is trapped. So just keep that in mind too. We do have a little bit of fuel for this fire. Yeah, Lulu, huge gap. At first I was mad that I canceled. I was like, I can't believe I canceled that. It was a perfect entry. And then today, both Macy's and Lulu. Let's check out Lulu real quick. And then I saw the other NTCO, and we'll check out that. And Chad, is that CL or CI? Just let me know in the chat pane. They look identical to me. The yoga pants fell off. Nah, yoga pants don't ever fall off. They're glued on. Like you super glue. I think that's the only way those things, like, it's not really yoga pants unless you can't breathe when wearing them. That's how you know they're real yoga pants. All right, we got big came out very sneakily on Friday after the market closed, giving a little bit of warning about potential. Why is my internet unstable? I got a note. I don't know. Let me know if you guys, if I start breaking up or anything like that. But according to Zoom, my internet is unstable. Yeah, but I'm a little unstable too, so I can vibe with it. All right, we got Lulu gapping down again, just giving a little bit of warning about potential sales that could be coming in. This is a pretty prettiest gap, if that's a word, but a little bit of a run up. We were above the 10. We look good. I think on that 15-minute, based on where I was originally looking to set the entry, we pretty much came right back into that price point, which we were somewhere right around there, I believe. It was either there or here, one of those 2 days. I forget, but it ended up canceling. I think it was back here, actually. And this thing just nosedive today on some of those warnings. By the way, we're pretty much right back into earnings season. So we're going to have CPI coming out, I believe, this week, the 13th. And we got earnings starting this week, too. So if you think this week is going to be voided of any news or volatility, you would probably be mistaken. But that's, yeah. And again, technically, this is kind of a retest gap. I don't know how much this thing retests, though. And I would not expect a full retest up to 329. If anything, on the most bullish note, we probably get 308.72. Otherwise, it looks like a pure disaster. But again, I'm not going to be the first one to short. Let's see if we can get a little bit of retest first. It's just too big of a gap for me to short out of the gate. CI says Chad. So let's take a look real quick at NTCO. Jerome Nelson's in the house. What's up, Jerome? We got NTCO. So a little bit of a gap and go bearish. It's under $5 stock. I don't know what the volume is on this one. So for day trade purpose, typically my criteria is I want at least 2 million shares exchanged. They may or may not have it. No clue. It's not one that I usually trade. And then typically for my other rule is for a day trade basis, I want over $5. So for me, and just the type of stocks that I day trade, it wouldn't really fit just on that basis. Technically this gap here was a retest gap. It looks like we did come in for the retest. We have a little bit of support somewhere around this 457. If you're going to attempt to go long, that's where I'd wait for. But this is a pretty big move, 379 all the way up to 479 within 3 days. I would expect a little bit of a bigger retest. Maybe not go short. That looks like a good double bottom. Technically, you got higher lows. This would be the neckline. We did break the neckline. That's also where we built a little support. But this is a gap and go bearish inside candle, going to also make it a little bit more difficult to trade. But I'll be leaning a little bit bearish at open. But inside day is going to be a little tricky on it. And it looks like it did break out. I'm just looking for some kind of a pullback of us to play that. CI Cigna. Is that the healthcare company, Cigna? Where, is there pre-market on this? I thought it was like one of those gaps where like the pre-market is in a different computer altogether. But yeah, I don't see anything pre-market on this. In terms of, you're probably looking at 305.08 as some kind of resistance. It has faded a lot. So ideally, what I would like to see, and again, is on a bigger zoomed out view. Pre-market, again, I'm not really seeing anything at all indicator wise of where we're actually opening, but yeah, that's too high. I would like to see, because again, I don't want to be the one shorting right here. We're down a lot in the last few days. I'd like to see some kind of retest somewhere around this 320 zone, and then try to anticipate maybe some kind of head and shoulders. That would be my neckline. So trying to get somewhere around 320 on the short side, and then maybe 335, 340 for your stop. And then you'd be able to ride it back down to this neckline and then see if this happens. But otherwise, it looks to me we're kind of on some kind of support longer term. And maybe a decent looking buy spot opportunity potentially for some longer term investors. You're looking at probably through what is that? That's about 290-ish, a little higher, maybe about 292. I'd say about 292 is going to be a much bigger support for this thing. So you're going to have to try to take advantage, I think, of this on a trade on that run up to attempt to short. And I would probably throw stops. Yeah, I'd probably have to throw stops above that 340 because it is technically still making higher highs, higher lows at this point. Yes, just a big drop. Thinking it could bounce. It could bounce. You're on that support line. Yep. If it's going to bounce, it's going to be here. I would also expect, even if this thing takes a nosedive and absolutely just gets crushed, I would still expect a bounce here before we roll. So I don't know. This is the spot I'd be anticipating some kind of a long setup and then either take profits somewhere around there and then just either do nothing or try to reverse. But if it does reverse, that's a mean looking head and shoulders on CI. Whether it happens or not, it's all anticipation at this point. All right. PFG for Ron. And if I missed some of you guys' tickers, I apologize a trillion times. I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Ooh. PFG. PFG. I don't know. That's the best way I can describe it. I don't know. Let me go to a little bit of a longer time frame. I still don't know. This has definitely got a bullish chart. Let me go to a monthly real quick. All right. So on the monthly basis, hasn't made a big historic move. It does look like we just broke out on a monthly. This could be one little bit of a pullback last month, and we could continue to rise. So when I say I don't know, this is what I mean by that. It's up a lot, right? To me, this could definitely be a little bit of a pennant pattern break, right? The fact that we are actually breaking out on a monthly, a longer term basis, that could be some type of pennant pattern. This was the break. Even on that note, if I still like this thing bullish, I'd be looking here, 50% retrace, so about $86 entry, right? And then this is my little bit of a flagpole, pennant flagpole. That's what that looks like to me. I could also look at this go, here's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And maybe this was a little bit of an ABC before we got that break. Again, that's a decent breakout out of that downtrend pennant pattern. And we could be looking for, this one doesn't look like it moves incredibly that much, but I'd probably want to lean with that over anything else. Let me just see so it could, again, and I don't know volume on this one for day trade. So if you're asking for swing trade, I'd probably be leaning a little bit more swing trade. Just historically, this thing has not moved incredibly a lot. But let's see. How far did we get down? That's a good double bottom at a 50% retrace as well. You know where your stops are going to be. Your stops got to be right underneath that. So I'd be looking for a pullback, 50% of that candle that came in on Friday, if it happens. You probably will happen because the original thought of like, I don't know, that was coming from this, right? So could we easily bounce up, come back, we retest one more time, and then go? I think that's a more likely scenario because this was a decent support, 1, 2, and then we had another even VPOC over here, so 3. Then we had the gap down. I would expect this, and again, my stop clearly down here. So I'd be looking for some kind of a bounce, entry, stop underneath, and then see if that double bottom at a 50% retrace could hold on something that fairly over time has a little bit of a bullish edge, but it doesn't do too much. Amazon and CRM. Scott wants to play Rate That Gap. All right, let's do CRM first. CRM I did look at prior, so to be fair, I'm cheating a little bit. I looked at it this morning before we got on the mic. The gap I would say is I'm gonna go 1 to 10, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. That's how I'm gonna play this silly little game. I'm gonna go with a 4. I'm gonna take it as a 4. Only because I mean, I would rate it higher. I would rate this much higher if we didn't have all of this resistance coming in right here. So I think this is a strong candidate. Obviously, it's a retest gap. So on the fact that it should retest, I think that's a little bit of a higher rating. The gap is supposed to do what it does. I think that's a little bit of a higher rating. We get that pullback. I'd be looking for somewhere around this 140.51 zone as an attempt, but I'd be very terrified right now of all this kind of potential resistance. So if I'm looking at this thing, and that's why I have to rate it a little bit lower, is just I don't know where my target is going to be. Right? I'm looking at right around here is all of my support resistance. We got massive volume actually not on this longer candle, but we got more volume coming in on, I believe, this high wave. Right? So this is where people started shorting. I don't know if people are really freaked out yet. If you did short, so it could lock some profits, but I could definitely see that happening, and then maybe a little bit of a pullback further. So maybe kind of even coming in for another retest here. Was this the cup? This was the handle, and we take off? I don't know. But yeah, it's decent minus the fact I don't know where I could put my targets. I don't know where these sellers start to get. If we start to get above 147.50 though, if it could prove to me it gets a 147.50, I think we're solid. CRM we just did. We got to do Rate That Gap. Amazon. Snow and UNH. Yep, we can take a look at those two as well. Amazon. I would rate this one a little bit higher. I'll give this one about a 6. A 6. Again, it would be a little bit higher, but you got a lot of resistance probably coming in at 88.68. Maybe we get to 89.12. This is going to be a much bigger contested area. So again, technically the retest gap, I would wait, get a little bit of the last biggest higher volume candle is right here, this little high wave. So this one would really have to start clearing 88.35 and holding before I would say, okay, this thing's got a shot to really break out and have a bang up moon phase. But buying it off some kind of a dip, again, with this one, should have clear stops though, right? So technically we have higher lows. I mean, even with that wick, technically that's a little bit of a bear trap. But where this candle opened and the other one closed, technically higher lows. You did break. I'd be looking for some kind of a retest and then give it our best college try. Because if it clears that 89, let's say, probably less, 88.50-ish, then $93 becomes my target, and that would be a really nice trade. But we got to get above that massively high volume candle. So I think Amazon looks a little bit better. Yeah, watch all the Chinese names. So I know I got some requests for PDD. All right, I'm going to move a little faster because I got not much time left. But watch Baba, watch PDD. This is Pinduoduo. You can watch Billy as well. Some of these names have been moving relatively decent. To go long here, there's so much. There's so much upside. There's a lot of upside if COVID zero is gone. If the Chinese economy starts to open, just from highs to lows, all the Chinese names are extremely beat up. I've been making that case now for a little bit. At this point, I'd have to wait for a pullback. But look at this volume area. Not a lot of resistance. So if I could catch that retest, this would be a decent and we've traded PDD for day trades before, so we could do it. It's possible. For me, I'd like to wait for some kind of retest here, either right here or right down there, right above 90 somewhere, so 92.50. Expecting this little volume area to hold since we're above it. And then I'll be looking for some kind of targets up into the 124 area, 123 area. That's a lot of room to go without too much resistance. So be watching this one. We could definitely get some breaks. Obviously, we do have a little bit of resistance, probably coming in very shortly. As a long-term investor, I would love to see another pullback, something like that. Come back down to, I mean, if this thing comes back down to 70, I'll even just call it 70 flat, but $70. Yeah, definitely going to be picking up some shares for the long term. We shall see. Let me take a look real quick at Snow. I get SNOW. No. What's the daily candle look like? We got a lot of volume above us, right? So we still got 143.43. That gives us about a $20 upside. Kind of a little bit of a harame, right? Lower half green candle in the bottom of some kind of sell-off, big volume candle as well. This should be a retest gap. I'd be looking probably to buy this thing. We could even keep this on the list for a day trade potentially, but 124.78 would be my entry, and then we'd be looking for about 119.21 would be my stop on this one. Again, it's got a lot of volume ahead of it, but this could be a little bit bear trappy on Friday. Technically, we are still making lower lows, so that I don't like that as much. But even if we get, I mean, that's my stop. If that candle breaks, we definitely take another dive down, maybe to, at that point, 113.76. So rather just be out and then retry it again a little bit lower. And let's take a look at the Tesla, and then if I get a minute, I'll get to the UNH, United Health. But this chart is sponsored by Tesla. The Tessie. On a daily chart, we're right. Yeah, I would expect a fade out of the gate on this one. So this is technically a retest gap. It's been very bearish, in a bearish pattern. We got the 10 EMA coming right in at us. If we get any kind of green candles into like the 120.61 and then have a stop somewhere close to like 124.59, I could probably take that one blindly if it gets up there. We need to rally a little bit more, but otherwise I'm expecting this one to fade. Going long, I don't know. I mean, depends on the tweet today from Elon. I got to check Twitter, but definitely a lot of pressure. This thing has been down about 50% pretty much in a month and a half. Maybe less than that time frame, but a little bit of a bottom, could be a little bear trap as well. Breaking that, good close, nice gap up. I would expect a little bit of a fade. Would like to fade this thing a little bit higher. Probably, I'm going to set an alarm. 120.72. Add the alert. That's where I would like to get in short. Otherwise, I only got 2 seconds. The bell's about to ring. Make sure you guys hit the like button. If you're not, we do publish content relatively daily, and you guys can hang out, join us all day long, each and every day, for all my YouTube friends right here in the All Access Pass. So make sure you guys take that opportunity to do so. Otherwise, you guys are incredible, and I will catch you guys tomorrow.